say hypothetically, women weren't allowed to get a credit card.
Most of history?
No, for sure. I'm just saying that, well, credit's relatively new, but that's a whole different conversation that we can be having. You're basically saying that, I'm trying to think, sorry. I'm trying to like phrase the words.
It's just debt. How is credit new?
No, it's what if a woman like in her own time, like this isn't like a requirement that it should be so. I'm saying on her own time, she did her research and she got a financial literacy class. You're basically saying, well, you can't have it anyway, even if you're more financially literate than other men or than men, because you're a woman, is basically where you're going at. Because what if she is financially literate? Because you're making a broad statement saying women shouldn't have it because they're not financially literate. What if they are?
So once again, this is like the third time you've argued that the exceptions should make the rule.
This wouldn't really be an exception.
Well,
this
based
is about
on
like
what
line
statistics?
Her
history,
exception
right?
was a woman who went and studied and
It's
got
not
a
an
degree.
exception, though, right? It's reasonable
Women who
to
study
presume.
economics
She's
better
ask-
than men is an exception.
She's asking the line of credulity.
It's an exception.
She's asking
Her
the-
example is an exception.
It is. Just accept it.
It's
It's an
not
exception.
an exception.
You are.
It's okay. I
You know
can
what an
answer
exception
you.
is?
I do.
Do you know what it is?
Do you want me to answer
How many
you?
women go and
Jay,
get economics
if you want to talk to me,
degrees?
you have to
How
allow me to
many women
talk.
get-
If you're just going to interrupt
There's
me,
nobody up here. You're looking over
I've
here.
already talked
We're
about
over
you.
here.
I know you think this
We're
is
over
a sick
here.
dunk.
Hey, we're over here.
I often look up when I think. That's fine.
Apparently.
So,
Right.
do you want me to answer you?
Is that an exception?
It's not an exception.
Why?
Because it's completely normative to assume that multiple women can go and get financial
Most.
literacy.
Well, you know, if you're
most.
wanting her to stare you in the eyes while arguing, why don't you take your shades off?
Because I am so much on drugs right now.
Fair.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, that's
In fairness, he has eye floaters. I will give him that points. He's got like eye floaters. Although
I
it would
just
be
met
better
you.
if you took them off
Why?
so that
You can stare
there's
into
no
his-
glare,
So you
so
can
that people
stare
know
into
where
the
you're
abyss and
looking.
you look in the abyss.
dazzling.
You wanna look in
You've
the
got
abyss.
incredible blue eyes. Yeah, that's what I want to do.
Isn't an exception something that's paired up against most?
Yeah, but again,
So
you're
what do most?
Thank you. Thank you.
yeah, but in this
Thank
case,
you.
well, hold on.
Why,
hold on.
why are you making this so complicated?
Because you're being false analogous right now,
What do you-
right?
what's the false analogy?
The false analogy
She's
is to
repeating what I
imply.
said yesterday.
You don't. Well, you used it incorrectly last time.
No, I didn't.
You did.
No.
In fact, it's
Where's the analogy anyway?
the analogy here now is between men and women and a comparison line on financial literacy. And so you're saying, well, most women aren't financially literate.
No,
well,
she
most
said
men
who
are
went and
also.
studied
hold
it.
on, you gotta
She
let
said
me
better
finish.
than men.
You got to finish. Yep. So most men are also not financially
That has
literate.
nothing to do with her example.
I will get there if you
We
just
don't need you to
breathe.
filibuster
Jay,
the whole
if you
podcast.
If you don't want to listen and just interrupt me, that's fine. But then we can't talk.
It's a dumb false
you got to let me
analogy.
finish my statement.
You're making the
you
false
gotta let me finish
analogy.
my statement, Jay.
Let her
It's
finish
not
the
relevant
false
to the
statement.
exception. Yes,
You got to
please.
let him finish my statement.
Yeah, sink yourself again.
Once you're
Go
done,
ahead.
once you're done, I'll go back.
Hang yourself again.
Okay, so the issue that you're having is that when you're talking about how most women are not financially literate, men are also not mostly
No,
financially
it's-
literate. So
it's
you
not relevant
you
to
need
what she
you need to
said.
create a line of credulity beyond financial literacy that makes women exceptionally incapable of having a credit card that men don't have.
Did you not
if your
hear what she
exceptional
said?
line,
Can
if
you
your
not
line of
hear?
credulity, you got to let me finish.
She said
I'm
a
gonna
woman
keep,
who
I'm
goes.
just going to keep talking until you let me finish. You got to let me
she
finish
said
talking.
A woman
You got to
who
let me
goes
finish
and
talking.
studies.
I'm just going to keep talking over you, and I'm going to pick up exactly where I
the
was until
average
you're done
man. She
interrupting
said
me.
a
I'm going to
person
keep going
studying
until you
beyond
let
the
me pick up exactly where I was. So the line
you
of
can't filibuster.
This is all you
can
do.
interrupt me
This
the
is
entire
why you're
time.
the worst debater
Last
on
time
the
I just
internet.
let
Give
you
yourself
keep
like
talking over
30
me.
seconds.
I'm just going to wait until
You
you actually
are
let
the
me finish
female
an
Destiny,
argument.
but you're the crappy version. And
He's one of the
Destiny
greatest
sucks.
debaters on the
No, he's
planet,
not.
so that's
The
totally
fact
okay
that
with
you
me.
think that
Boy.
shows that you're
I
the
know,
dumbest
I
out
know.
here.
Once you're done, I'm going to go back. So the line of
Destiny is
credulity.
the worst person on the internet,
Are you ready?
and you're the
okay,
worst
I'll
version of
just
the
say
worst.
it again until you
so
let
what
me.
does that tell you?
Can interrupt me if you want me to talk. Okay, so the line of credulity. Good one.
It's just a machine gun.
The line
diarrhea.
of credulity.
That's all it is.
The line of credulity that you have to establish at some point is why men are exceptional in the case of credit cards that women are not, and the
You
line
didn't even
can't
hear
be
her
financial
example. You're
literacy.
talking to yourself in
Her
your
example
head.
was
You didn't
financial
hear her.
literacy, and there's no
No,
reason
it
that
wasn't.
women
It
cannot
wasn't.
be
No, it
financially
wasn't.
literate.
You
Was
didn't even
financial
hear it.
literacy
No.
the line that you were
I
establishing?
do agree with that part, though. Is
Yeah,
that there's
because it
no
helps
reason,
what you said.
no,
Right.
there's no reason a woman can't be financially literate,
That's
so
not
you
what
shouldn't just have a
said.
blanket.
You said a woman who goes and studies beyond what most men
She was
do and
asking for a
study.
line of credulity. So she says,
That's an
okay, if your
exception.
bar of the issue is
Her
financial
exception
literacy,
to the rule.
why can women who become financially literate not apply for a
You're-
credit card? Now,
again,
you have
it's
to establish
talking
the
to a
reason why a
child.
woman who is financially literate can't apply for a credit card. Go
I
ahead,
never
Jay.
said that they couldn't.
Oh, so you're fine with
attributing-
women that are financially
you're
literate
attributing
getting a credit
positions
card.
that are not relevant to what she argued.
So are you okay with women who are financially literate getting a
I'm
credit card?
responding to her critique.
I can let her ask you the same
Her
question.
exceptions don't make the rule.
Are you fine with women who are
Her
financially
exceptions
literate?
don't
Are
make
you
the
fine with
rule.
women who are financially literate getting a credit
It's
card?
like talking to a 13-year-old child.
Do you want to answer?
Her exceptions don't make
This
the
isn't
rule.
an exception at all. Financial
She
literacy
said
is not
a
exceptional.
woman who studies it more than the average man.
She gave
That
you a
was
case
one
study.
example.
That doesn't
That's
mean
an
that it's
exception. Thank you.
That was no.
Thank you.
That was
It's a case.
one
It's a case study to
example.
test
That's
the
an
extent.
example. That's an exception
It's
to the rule.
It's not an exception to the rule. It's a case study to test your logic. That's what she
How
was
is it a
doing.
case study? She just said an example.
Because she was giving one person.
That's not a
who was
case study, you
Yes,
idiot.
it is. It's focusing in.
An example is a case study?
Yeah, in this case, it's a focus
Who
in.
did the study? What case?
Nobody here is.
Thank you. So it's not a case study.
No, you're
Thank
just
you.
equivocating now, where you're acting like when I say
You're
case
using
study.
the words that I used yesterday
No.
because you're a gaslighter,
I actually-
and you can't actually
wow.
debate.
Okay.
You gaslight from everything that I said yesterday.
I know you're really
do you wanna,
mad,
Do you want to
Jay.
list all the fallacies
I'll
so you
just
can
wait.
repeat them?
I'll just wait for you to be done.
Do you want to say Texas sharpshooter fallacy? Because I know you looked it up last night. Do you want to do that one now?
I didn't actually look it up.
You're belaboring something that you should just concede to.
I don't need to concede
She
to
gave
this.
an
This
exception.
isn't an exception to the
You're
rule.
talking over me. She
Sorry,
gave
you're
an
right.
exception. That she listed an exception. It is a very specific exception, right? She described it. Jay responded to the exception.
Not an exception.
It is. How can you not see that? This
Okay,
is so silly.
I can explain to you again. The reason that it's not an exception is that she wasn't saying in this one unique case where this woman is exceptional.
She gave
was
an example of a woman who did
Jay,
it.
Breathe. You have
That's
to. Jay,
an exception.
Jay, you have to let me
idiot.
finish talking, or again, the
But
audience
when
just
you
never
talk,
gets anything.
it is so dumb.
That's fine.
Everyone's IQ literally
That's
starts
fine.
going
In free
down
sp-
points.
Yeah, good one, Jay.
Like we're
It
getting to
doesn't-
the 80 IQ level
again,
every time
once
you
you're
talk.
done, once you're done, all of your sick debate
My IQ
tactics, I'm
points
going
are
to pick
going
up
to
where I
zero.
was.
Please,
Good.
God, please help me. They're almost zero from you talking.
In fairness, Brian, if you want me to engage with this, I can. We can also move on. But if he's going to interrupt
Okay,
me the entire
Kyla,
time, there's
what
nothing that I can
determines
do.
if something's an exception? What's the criteria?
Something that is so like atypical would be like less than like I don't know, like 5%. It has to be something that is.
Oh, you
Less than
just
5%.
Yeah, it has to be. So
No, that's
arbitrary.
Hold on.
That's abnormal.
So, for example, a way that you could apply this fallacy correctly, if you want me to talk you through it, is say we're talking about body count, and then we find this one case of a woman that has 100 body count, and it turns out that after she does that, she has a really long, successful marriage and life. And if I use that to prove C, body count doesn't matter. You would say, well, that's a bit of an exception to the rule. That doesn't make that the rule that generally that the higher the body count is, that they're less likely to be
Are you
consistent.
just going to yell the whole time? Are you done? Come on. Good
Jay,
grief.
your friend asked me a question. I need to answer it.
You don't answer. You literally just machine gun vomit out of your mouth for like minutes on end.
And all you do is interrupt
what?
constantly, make loud, annoying
You
noises.
start arguments over the dumbest shit that's not even relevant to the exception.
I'm
You want to
allowed-
argue over words.
I'm allowed
you
to be
spent
here.
2 hours
Was invited
yesterday
to be
arguing
here.
over words.
In fact,
in your own
you-
stupid definition
I'm
of
pretty
feminism.
I'm pretty sure you asked me to debate you. So if this is a problem for you, that's fine. But you agreed to these engagements. If you don't want to debate me in the future, you don't have to. But
You don't debate.
asked me.
You don't
You
debate.
reached out to me.
You don't
Then why
debate.
did you reach out in the first place? Why did you ask for Brian to host us?
Why does it matter if I reached out to you?
Because
if you're
clearly,
going to debate, you have an
clearly you wanted
expectation.
to debate me, which means that you've agreed to
Yeah, I
some
thought
level
you might
of
debate.
engagement. Well,
But you don't.
the
You're the
issue,
exception.
the issue is that, again, if you
When
interrupt
most
me the
people that I
entire
ask,
time,
they debate.
You know,
The
one thing that's
exception.
pretty telling is that she hasn't insulted you at all once, and you've said
What's wrong with
idiot like 4
insults?
times. Well, I'm just saying you're talking.
we
you're-
had insults
No, you're
yesterday.
talking about yourself like you're like this master debater, like a masturbator, so to speak.
Well, that was a clever turn of
I know.
phrase. What, can you explain it? What does that mean? I don't get
So
it.
what I'm trying to say is that like you're acting like you're like this exalted like debater in comparison to her, that you're the grown man and she's the child.
That's because it's true.
It's not true. She's over 18.
Really?
So
No,
long
I'm saying that
story
I'm the
short-
master debater.
Jay, you
But
have
you're
to
not.
let other people speak.
Well,
like,
she
But you're
said I
not.
wasn't
But
the
then you're
master
saying
debater.
like,
I am.
but then you're calling her an idiot.
Because she
she's
objectively
not an
is.
idiot. She's
She
not
is.
an idiot.
That's
It
true.
doesn't make sense to you.
No.
It makes sense
It doesn't
to me.
make sense.
It makes
well,
sense to her,
yesterday,
but not to you.
Well, yesterday it makes sense to about 100,000
I'm pretty sure
people,
after
so-
the
I mean,
show-
who cares? She's not talking to them. She's talking to
No,
you.
we are talking to that many
After the
people
show,
right
Brian explicitly asked you to do a lot less of this behavior. He explicitly asked you to do this because
Oh
it
my
was
gosh.
taking
Are
away
you
from the quality
tattletaling
of
on me now?
content.
Are you gonna
This is just a
tattletail?
conversation that we
Taking
all
away
had.
from what?
The
It wasn't
quality of the
explicit.
content.
It was like a.
Brian.
It was a look. No. Here's what I said to Jay. I said, look, tomorrow you're a debater, right? You're a debater. We're bringing on a panel of guests who are not debaters, and I was like, they don't know how. They're not debaters. They're just here to have conversation. And I was like, I was letting Jay know, maybe we don't do certain, debate stuff to the
Like
non-debaters
That's
because
Interrupting all the time.
not to you.
But you're the debater.
You're
though.
the debater.
You did not make an exceptional rule that they could be just as obnoxious like this with me, but not with everyone else. And you and I both know that, Brian.
You don't think you're obnoxious?
I didn't say that I'm
You're
not obnoxious. I
extremely
said
obnoxious.
you guys are being obnoxious with me.
as the host, as the moderator, I would personally, although I find it a bit amusing, the insults and whatnot, and it'd be nice if you guys didn't insult each other. You know what, Jay? Can you say one nice thing about Kyla? And then Kyla, say one nice thing about Jay, maybe?
We're not acting like this is an equal engagement of problems.
Okay, then Jay, do you want to say something nice?
I also think that you think she's obnoxious because she's not submitting to you.
No, we had a whole debate yesterday.
He was mad because after the debate, we were like having a good
Is that
conversation,
what
and
you're
I
upset
told him I was
about?
disappointed.
submitting.
Kyla's not submitting to you.
I think he's mad because yesterday after the debate, I told him I
I'm
was
not mad.
you wanna
This is
say
literally
something
how.
nice?
You've been like subtweeting and retweeting me all day. I know that you're
Can you tilt
big
your
mad.
mic down a little bit?
You mean
Boosted
yesterday,
Coyote.
one time
think
when I
it's-
said a diarrhea
One
joke?
time.
Leave it up.
No, one
No,
time,
that was
a
funny. That was
diarrhea
before the
joke.
debate.
Right,
I mean,
I made
after
a
the debate.
diarrhea joke.
Yeah, that was good. I bantered with you on that. It
I
was
made
after
a
the
joke
debate.
about your relativism. That's it. The other clips are clips. They're not you. Sorry.
Okay.